дня, шановні глядачі! Сьогодні ми маємо дуже цікавого та почесного гостя. Ми запросили в нашу студію надзвичайного та повноважного посла Словенії в Україні пані Матею Prevolšek. Дуже гарне ім'я. А я знаю, що ви вивчаєте українську, але для того, щоб наше інтерв'ю було легким та в такому розслабленій атмосфері, я перейду на англійську. I'll switch into English and we will start our interview with some personal approach. I know that previously you was responsible for cooperation between Slovenia and countries of Middle East and Africa. You have really good experience in dealing with that countries, with that region. So how was possible to come to Ukraine? That was your own desire, your own proposal, or you received that from your government? So the first question will be about your personal approach and how you find Ukraine.
Yes, hello to everybody. It is true what you said at the beginning. Я навчаюся української мови, але для мене важко говорити, але я все розумію. So I have to go to answer this question a little bit back in my diplomatic career because I worked before in Kyiv in 2009-2010. Also, I worked in our embassy in Warsaw, in Poland, so I was kind of switching between Middle East and Eastern Europe. Also, I have some experience from working in Brussels, and I have to say that I was more involved into Ukraine in 2014 because at that time I already worked as a RELEX Council. This is the group in the EU that is preparing the sanctions. And when the first illegal accession of Crimea, actually I was the one who was responsible for the sanctions. So I was not without knowledge about Ukraine, and also Ukraine was close to my heart after my first stay here. And though when the war, full-scale war started in February 22, I was still ambassador in Cairo, but I was following from my own interest as well the situation in Ukraine, and I don't know. Then I returned to the ministry, and when this place was available, I applied. They didn't ask me or push me.
So that was your own desire?
Yes, it was my own choice, and I have to say that since I am 30 years in diplomacy, over 30 years in diplomacy, that this is one of the most difficult, but at the same time the most rewarding, and in a way it's difficult to say beautiful, but with in the context of my connection to Ukraine, also very emotional post to come here in this difficult time and to live here with the people that are at the same time the victims of such aggression, and at the same time with so much resilience, with so much power, willpower, and also with so much gratefulness for any help or any support that we try to give to them.
Thank you so much for such a kind answer, and I really feel that you are devoted to this mission, and I know thanks to you Ukraine receives a lot of assistance from Slovenia. I'd like to ask you about general situation in our bilateral cooperation between Ukraine and Slovenia, and how you can evaluate our current cooperation, and what are perspectives on in general, on political level and on diplomatic level?
Yes, we have very good bilateral cooperation. Bilateral cooperation started before the war, and I have to say, if we go back to the 91, Ukraine was among those countries who were very early recognized Slovenia, and vice versa. We were at that time in the similar positions, you know, getting independence, understanding this wish of our nations. So, and also after the both embassies were open here in Kyiv and in Ljubljana, the cooperation was very good in the economic sphere, cultural sphere. We have similar, I would say, I always compare Taras Shevchenko, you know, we just celebrated his day not a few days ago, and I always compare to our poet Prešern, because they were writing and they were important to develop the national feeling and the national, you know,
Dignity and view.
dignity, yes. And so, but if we go to the political and economic level, the cooperation was very good after the full-scale war started in Ukraine. The Russian aggression, Slovenia was among the first who sent the help, not only humanitarian help. Some of the project of helping the decentralization reform in Ukraine started before the war, and those communities who were connected with the Ukrainian communities start to collect the humanitarian help and came with the first trucks. Also, the military help was among the first one, and at that time Prime Minister visited Ukraine as a first Prime Minister. So, now during my stay here, I have to say that our government have a close relationship with Ukraine. We have many high-level visits. During my time, the President of the Republic of Slovenia visited Ukraine. The Speaker of the Parliament visited Ukraine. My Minister, Foreign Affairs, Foreign and European Affairs, she also visited Ukraine. And we had many more ministers and state secretaries in 3 years. There were a lot of visits that show support. As a political support, we are supporting the EU integration of the Ukraine. We are also extending the cooperation, development cooperation and humanitarian aid. Maybe the cultural exchange is maybe not so active like it was before the full-scale war, but there are also some, you know, some actually. Sometimes the people decide on their own to come and travel and to publish the books about the situation in Ukraine. And what I'm really glad to say that many times we have some individuals who call the embassy, oh, we collected, we have a huge van and we collected help and we are bringing it. So there are enthusiastic people in Slovenia that are not only once but many times come with the help that they just collect themselves. And I think that you know, in general there is really a lot of going on, and I have to say that myself and my team at the embassy, we are very busy here. It's not only to report about the situation, but also because of such a good bilateral cooperation.
And I'd like to also share my own experience, because Slovenia is very close to my heart, because when the war started, I was abroad and tried to come back to Ukraine. So Slovenia was my first, Ljubljana, it was my first city. I came and then my way was by land to Ukraine. So I have very good memories how people welcome us, how people try to assist anyway. And what is also interesting, you know, that I work for the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and probably I open some confidential information, but that is interesting that the first country who call and propose some assistance, some financial assistance, that was Slovenian Chamber. Really? So yeah, so we receive the first call with a proposal to assist from Slovenia, and I have a good skin now because I just reminding all these events and feelings, and we're really grateful for your people, for such kindness, for such approach of cooperation. And I know that Slovenia also deal with Ukraine in the program of Grain from Ukraine. So that was very interesting for me also, that Slovenia, to be honest, not such a big country, but you participate in different programs and projects supporting Ukraine. So that it's not just like donation. Sometimes it's really very effective programs like demining. As I mentioned about agriculture, your experience also in your integration. So I'd like to ask about your vision, how you see Ukraine in this process, and probably you can share your own experience on your way to EU accession.
Yes. Well, we all know that to change or to do all the reforms for the EU accession is it's a huge burden on the country. But at the same time, if I compare the economic performance and in general, when Slovenia entered the EU. Over 20 years ago now. I was at that time actually working in our embassy in Poland, and we entered together with 10 other member states, also Poland. But this, I think, give a country a lot of, how to say, new ideas and new energy, you know, for the development. The EU is also supporting a lot of programs in different spheres, and also to open to be part of the much bigger common economic market, trade market, brought for Slovenia a lot of I would say advantages, and our bigger economic exchange is just with the European markets, with other European member states. So I think that for Ukraine, though, there is still a lot of homework to do, and we all know where the performance is good and where the performance still need to catch up. So I think that it's important to help in these areas. Slovenia decided to share that because of the differences between the size of the states, you know, Slovenia having 2 million people and Ukraine having, I don't know how many are now in Ukraine, but before around 40 million or a bit less now maybe, but because of these differences, we decided to help in the decentralization reforms and to connect the small gromadas with Slovenian communities, to share their experience how to apply for the European grants to have the project in different sphere. Mostly it's ecological and economic development. And this is giving some first results. But to tell you honestly, you said that I'm trying my best to have to get a lot of to get a help for Ukraine, but it's not me. I mean, we report and we try to find something that is compatible for both countries, but also our Ministry for Foreign and European Affairs. They have quite a clear vision on the help, because for the fourth year now they are a bit increasing this help. And this help, as you mentioned, is focused when it's some program of demining. We also join the grain from Ukraine because we saw that this is important for the Ukraine and for the African countries. So it's both on the high target for Slovenian development aid. But there is another very important area, and this is psychosocial situation of the children. And that's why Slovenia also participates not only in one but in few programs that are trying to help the children. One is to try to help the children of the big foster families, which we actually the idea came after the Madame Olena Zelenska Foundation suggest for helping in this area. Then the second area is the children with special needs. We finance 2 of such homes for children with special needs, and the third is to have the program to teach the trainers is called, to teach the teachers and the social workers, and this program is carried out together with the local NGO in the Ismail region. And I think that the cooperation between the Slovenska Filantropia and local NGO Živaja is now already 3 or 4 years old, and I think it's also a very good example of on this social policy sphere. So there are also some small projects that are carried out directly through the embassy. And this is a new idea of our ministry, of the Directorate for the Development Help, to give embassy the possibility to find projects, but these are low-cost projects, but in some areas that are can add to those that are already being done on the governmental level. And that's why we are doing few projects that are connecting with the ecological situation, or also the helping the war veterans and in connection with demining. So when I think where I have to travel, and not where I have to travel, but where I want to travel, to see how we are doing, how this is going on, and to get ideas for the next year, or to have an easier dialogue with our ministry. I can say that yes, maybe I can say we are doing quite many projects. Sometimes I even noticed that we are quite active, and I think for the yes. But I would also like to say that, of course, the Slovenia a few months ago also made a very important decision, and this is it was quite a high contribution to the Pearl military assistant, $50 million American dollars, and this is comparing to
50 million.
Yes, comparing to the 2 million inhabitants. This was also quite a substantial decision. And this is on the top of all the previous military help that we are doing. So I think that we are active, and we are trying to do our best to see but the needs are everywhere, you know. And I forgot to mention one of the few programs that are dearest to my heart, and these are the rehabilitation of the children. Every year we do 2 groups of the children coming to Slovenia, but this year I hope that we can expand that. We are still talking about this, but 2 groups are already confirmed, or the financial means are already confirmed, but if we can expand that, we are still talking about it. Because when I see the children, usually there are children from the first year we had from Khmelnytsky region, the second year from Kharkiv region, the children from the families that are connected with the war veterans or IDPs families and so on. And this is really emotional that they can have at least, you know, some days away and have their childhood. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you that Slovenia is still active, because a lot of countries at the beginning provided a lot of assistance, but now the resources is coming to over, and but the war is still ongoing. And I'm really grateful for your comprehensive approach that means you understand Ukrainian needs. In the context of assistance, like, everything is understandable, but probably it will be some provocative question, but how you feel, how your people feel that this assistance is still needed to Ukraine? Probably you have some probably negative attitude of some of groups of people, or probably it's like in theory, we know that there are a lot of different Russian narratives and a lot of influence from through different groups. How your people attitude to this approach to provide assistance to Ukraine?
For me, this is not a provocative question, because the fact is that there is a lot of Russian hybrid war also being carried out in European countries, and Slovenia is not exception. And also we have to understand the history of Slovenia. We didn't have problem with the Russian Federation, or we were not part of the Warsaw Pact. We were not under the influence of the Soviet Union, though we were in the communist country, but it was a different part after the dispute between the Stalin and Tito. We had a different past. So somehow many Slovenians, and I can see especially maybe the elderly generation, they have quite a warm feeling to Russian or to Russian people. But especially with a lot of Russian propaganda, or it's better call it disinformation. Yes, there are a lot of writing. Everybody can check on its own. There are a lot of writing, but you can see that the same people are always write the same comments and the same lies or half truths about that. And I feel that there is maybe a part, but I don't believe that this is such a huge part to influence the whole country or the whole policy towards Ukraine. And I'm also sad when I read that, or I'm sometimes sad, sometimes makes me angry, because it is we could be in this situation. Somebody want our land and just have this aggression, or they don't, or like what I believe it's the biggest problem for the Putin or for the Russia to have beside them develop a democratic country that can be a bad example for their
a threat.
Yes. Also, there are a lot of reasons behind this aggression, so this disinformation to try to make a Ukrainian as a reason, it's for me also difficult. But I have to say that when I talk to the people, or when, even now I kind of see that the people start to address somehow that this is only one circle that is going this direction. The rest of the people, and what is very important, I think, the young people, they support Ukraine. And I believe that though the people are maybe in general, not only in Slovenia but in Europe, a bit of tired, because this is now the 5th year going on, and they think, and there is also a lot of different information about how in which way the peace negotiation is going. So the people are a bit tired, but when I see those same individuals who were collecting money at the beginning of the war, but now they are still coming with the help that they collect from the people in the villages, I do believe that the people, they still understand. And that those who are, on the right track, even if they don't read about Ukraine every day, even if they don't talk about the Ukraine every day, they still, support our good relationship, bilateral, and our political support, and they see Ukraine as a victim. But there's information, yes, there is. You can read a lot, and there are also people who believe that Ukraine is the one who should do more to achieve the peace. But I live here. I live here, and I see the reality. There are ballistic rockets and a drone flying over our heads. So, I mean, at the same time, when the peace talk are going on, there is a huge attack. So
usually we have these attacks in advance. These peace talks. So thank you so much for this open answer. And if we start these provocative questions, probably you will answer also my next question considering EU accession of Ukraine. I understand that it's not possible to predict, but probably you can share your forecast about Ukraine EU accession. How it possible, and do we need more decades and more years, or it can be in theory possible to do in a prompt version of EU accession?
Well, now this is not really official position of my country, but I mean, official position of my country is, of course, to support Ukraine. But
to analyze,
and this is also, of course, my position is to support the Ukraine, but there has to be a merit-based conditions to enter EU, and this is position of my country and of many European countries. But now, if I see that there are, there are like two, what I follow personally. Not that closely, because we are less, the Brussels is more involved in this, but there are, of course, two kind of areas or spheres where first is for Ukraine to do the homework, and there is, of course, a lot of homework to be done here, but there some has been done. And when I talk to the people who are on the level of making decision or to making reforms, I can see that really they try to put very competent people in these positions. We had before Minister Stefanishina, now we have Minister Kachka. When you talk to them, you see that they know exactly what is on their desk or in their file, and what they are trying their best, and it needs money, time, the knowledge, and so on. Of course, second is that there is a lot of going on also in the European Union. It is not for me to to say exactly, because I don't follow that closely, but the European Union also realized that the conditions and the rules when we entered, when Slovenia entered and other 9 countries together with Slovenia, that conditions has changed. So they are looking for the new ways. And also we have to know, because all the newspapers are writing about that there are some countries in the EU where the Russian disinformation and so on had more influence, and so they are not so supportive to Ukraine, like for example Slovenia. So I think that it is very difficult to predict because of the first Ukraine homework, and second how the development in the EU will go. But I really firmly believe that hopefully EU will not miss this moment together with the Ukraine to overcome this what is happening in the EU, and at the same time to give the right push and the right help to Ukraine, because Ukraine has to stay on the democratic way. Ukraine has to become a EU family. This will be beneficiary for both of us, not only because of the economically and so on, but especially because also on the security sector, this is very important also for the EU. For me to predict now the years or so on, I know that Ukraine is saying that they can be ready by 2027. I think that this is very optimistic, but it's more difficult for me to say, because we don't follow that much all the details, the technical details. This is going on between the competent authorities here and the EU Commission and Brussels. So I don't know. I do hope that you are on the fast track.
Thank you. We also hope that it will be our fast track mission, and we will succeed with it. But to be honest, everything is unpredictable in the world, and I, to be honest, do not know how the situation in the world and the Middle East can influence on our situation. But now I understand that a lot of different countries understand our experience, and that we receive a lot of different requests considering our skilled people in military forces. How to say? Now we understand that we are strong, and we also can share our experience to different strong countries.
I have to tell you, I'm proud of you. Really, I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy for you, and you know that finally, not finally, but I think that the military people and experts, they knew how good you are in this, and we who live here, we also know that not that you are good because you wanted to be, but because you were pushed to be, because you didn't have any other way. And now to show this also, to the allies in when they need, I think it's I'm proud of you. So you should be proud. Yeah.
And we also now realize also our responsibility for the security in this region, because if we are experienced, unfortunately experienced, so that is also our responsibility. So we talk a lot about humanitarian, political level. I'd like to talk a little bit about some practical issues, about business, about economy. I noticed that we have a little bit growth in our trade turnover, and comparing to between 2025 and 2024, we have even 11%, up to 11% increase. What do you think about the perspective of the next year, about our trade turnover, about our export-import operation, which goods can be more in demand, and probably some secrets, some probably information about companies who are interested in cooperation with Ukraine, some spheres of activities?
Well, yeah, I have to say that in 2022 the trade was slightly decreased, and it took a little bit few years before it pick up again, but now it's on the level of the pre-war trade exchange. So it is good to say that those companies that were active before in Ukraine, Slovenian companies, they are still here in this market, and they are even some of them slightly expanding. But Slovenia and also Ukraine, I have to say that also the Ukrainian embassy in Slovenia is also active in this. We try to kind of make the some seminars and B2B online connections, so that because there will there is already going on reconstruction, but hopefully after the Ukraine achieved the just peace, that there will be even of course a lot of reconstruction and probably economical expansion, or I will not say boom, but yeah, but a lot of needs for. So I hope that our company will find the way how to also help in this recovery. There are many who are now still kind of careful, or they are afraid of the
a lot of risks.
Yes, I mean we have to admit that there are problems, because investing here, you know, the labor question because of the mobilization and so on, and then the all the equipment and so on is needed for the defending the front line, and in the military way, no, still because of the defense of the country. So there are still a little bit of being very careful, but we do notice that companies are asking or are trying also to find a cooperation with the Ukrainian when the Ukrainian needs and tenders. So I hope that companies that are in the innovation and technology development and so on, that they will find the way in also in Ukraine to even, you know, straighten our economic cooperation. I don't know that much though how many companies are in Ukrainian companies are in Slovenia, but I do know that our best chicken industry is owned by the Ukrainian.
Yes,
and so we all know that, and you know that these sausages are very popular in Slovenia, and everybody knows that this is now Ukrainian capital. So
yeah, we will not do advertisement, but everyone knows it.
yes, and they are really good. I mean, they're very popular in Slovenia. If you open the Slovenian TV, you can see, you know, how popular they are. Yes,
that is great. And you mentioned about online seminars, business events. Recently, we organized a business mission of Ukrainian companies in energy sector to Slovenia, and it was really very tight schedule. It was really not only interesting, but very useful contacts and proposals from both sides. So I hope that after such communication, such negotiations, we have good projects. Sometimes it will be not announced like a result because of some confidential issues, NDA and so on. But I know that there are 3 companies who are already in negotiation to sign contracts in different sectors, in pump systems, in energy efficiency. So I hope, fingers crossed, that we will have even more joint projects.
Me too, yes. and as you said, it's difficult sometimes to talk about the things that are still into kind of, you know, talk, because we don't know which way they will go. And but I hope the embassy is also doing our best to try to assist where we can. to build more bridges. So
we also hope.
yes.
Probably we discussed everything considering main dimensions, but I'd like to ask you to have like a final closing remarks and to address to our Ukrainian audience which live in Ukraine and also to Ukrainian diaspora which live in Slovenia also.
Well, yeah, Slovenia, I think, has modest diaspora, but at the same time, to me, they are very visible. I have to say that I follow their Facebook page and their Instagram page, so to know also what they are doing and in support of them. But well, I would like to say to the Ukrainian people, maybe just to repeat what I said at the beginning. It is a very difficult time for all the people here. Everybody has a relative, a neighbor, a friend, or somebody that died in this horrible aggression. Everybody has some kind of suffering as a consequence. But the people, I see that they are very strong and resilient, and they are very united. So for me, this was very rewarding to live this time here. I do believe that because of all this strength and strong resilience, that Ukraine is on the way to win the just peace and solution. And I really want to say to all Ukrainians that I do want to celebrate the just peace with you here in Kyiv, in Ukraine, hopefully very soon.
Very soon, we hope.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
And I do hope that the Ukrainians in Slovenia, they did find a temporary home there, and that most of the people, I know not everybody, but most of the people don't listen to the disinformation, Russian disinformation, and are, helping them. So myself, I will always support them. So
thank you so much, and we will overcome all these challenges together.
yes,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for
having
such
me.
honest talks and discussion.
I think Ukraine even made me more, honest about what is important in our lives. It's to live in peace with our friends and our family and think about them. So
thank you so much.
Thank you.